Hello! Today, I'm going to show you how to make one of these. Yeah, I know, I'm a hardcore type of guy. Well, us metal people are rather underappreciated for how compassionate we can be at times. Yeah, there's always the darkness and the violence, but sometimes there's always a little room for some compassionate love. Now today, I'm going to show you a little prom idea. Promposal, wedding proposal, a possible birthday gift, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you a good promposal idea.
So for this method, you're going to want to unwrap the candy bar very slowly. That way you can put it back in later if you'd like. This experiment calls for a small pan. Put a little water in there, not too much, just a little. You're probably going to need a half cup of chocolate and a small pot to put them in. Now make sure that the stove burner is set so that way the water doesn't boil. It only needs to simmer a little bit. If it starts boiling, you need to take the chocolate immediately off and allow the water to cool down a little bit before you put it back on there. Otherwise, you might burn the chocolate. Make sure that you have a spoon or something related, that way you can stir the chocolate as it's being melted. Of course you can do this in the microwave, but the disadvantage is that you're going to have to stop and start the microwave over and over again to keep stirring it. However, if you melt the chocolate over the oven, you can watch exactly how the chocolate is melting. Do this until there are no chocolate chunks left. The chocolate has to be liquid. Once the chocolate is liquefied, you're going to want to put it into a small bowl. Now it's time for the candy bar to come out. Take a spoon and pour a liberal amount of the melted chocolate all over the candy bar, covering the ridges on any possible letters. Make sure to spread it around. As you're spreading the chocolate, you're not going to be able to make it look 100% neat and perfect. Of course you can always make it look neater, but he or she, who the candy bar is being made for, if they have a soul, they're going to love the effort that you put into it. Take a butter knife and take any excess chocolate off the edges.
Now you should write your message in the chocolate while it's still hot. You can use any kind of tool, like a knife, or in my case, since I'm Batman, my Batman switchblade knife.
Now, because the chocolate is still warm, the message you try to carve in may turn out to be a mess. We can rectify that in a minute. You can always scrape off any excess chocolate with a knife. Now that the message is carved into the chocolate, you can outline it a bit with some sprinkles, or any other candy of your choice. To make it look neat, I am carefully placing each bit of candy at the edge of the candy bar. For this particular scenario, now that the message is more emphasized, I'm going to take one of these birthday cupcake candies and put it over the dot on the question mark, because that was a little difficult to highlight with the knife. And since I want to make this candy bar sparkle a bit more, I'm going to put the candies in the message, outlining it even more, making it more visible. Remember that at this point, the chocolate is cooling, so you only have a little bit of time left. You want to be delicate, but you also want to be speedy. Afterwards, take your knife and make sure that each candy is embedded within the chocolate before it cools. That way all the candy stays into the chocolate. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Now the only thing left to do is just put it in the refrigerator and let it sit for a while. The chocolate needs to crystallize. Assuming that the candy bar wrapper was open so that it wouldn't tear, a good idea would be to put the candy bar back into the wrapper and hot glue it shut, giving the element of surprise for he or she who opens it.
Well, unfortunately, I tore the Hershey's bar to pieces. However, I was able to get a crunch wrapper to fit. See, the trick is to hot glue this thing shut. Looks unopened, doesn't it? Gives them the nice element of surprise. No one would expect something like this in a Three Musketeer bar or a candy bar. And if you're not going to use candy exactly, then you can use it for something else. You can use this method to inspire some other way of bakery. See that? How can somebody say no to that? Plus, the amount of time and effort that it takes to make one of these, the other person is going to feel so touched and heartwarmed by your actions. They're going to be like, "Oh my God, did you think of this yourself?" Yes, I did. I thought of the whole thing.